champions are broken. People look at champions and try and find something that that champion has that they don't have. And he's like, but it's not that at all. They lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop.
Maybe your path in life is harder right now because your calling is so much higher.
But failure is the most information-rich data stream on planet Earth. But to accurately assess the data and figure out what it's telling you about why you failed to some extent or why it was more inefficient than it needs to be, you have to be willing to stare nakedly at your own inadequacies, take responsibility for the outcome, not make it somebody else's fault or the economy's fault or whatever, any external force. If you're making it an external problem, you're never going to be able to learn the lesson you need to learn in order to improve your behavior so that you can then execute better and make more progress.
Moving forward, set higher standards in your fitness, in your ability to orate, to speak. Enough with setting low standards and hitting those standards and being proud of yourself. Like, fuck, man, let's get to it.
Stop saying, I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said, I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward.
You want to rebel against your parents? Cool. Do better. You want to rebel against society? Cool. Rebel by working harder than everyone else. That's the best form of rebellion. Sure, you can go and rebel against them by cutting school, not studying. That is a form of rebellion. And guess what? You're the one that loses. So instead of doing that kind of rebellion, rebel by winning. Rebel by getting smarter. Rebel by getting stronger. Rebel by working harder. Like, that's the kind of rebellion you should do.
How motivated are you to do something about it? Your contribution, your actions. What are you giving? Many people will leave the universe without a trace. No one will know they were here. And in fact, under their name, we could put under there, not used up. Will anybody know that you came this way? What contribution are you giving? What will you leave? What will be different because you came this way? Someone once said that life is our gift to us, that God has given us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God.
If there is something that you can to 100% adjust and control in this life, it can only be yourself. If there is something which is 100% in your control, it must be yourself. What else should it be? And so if you think there is a possibility to master something, to take responsibility of something, then I think it must be related first of all to your being.
You know how you got there. You know the situations, you know the circumstances, you know how it began to overwhelm you. Since you know that, put the knowledge to use. Stop being afraid of it. Don't create this monster that you think that you can't face. The idea of going broke, if you've been broke, you're at the bottom. And if you're at the bottom, you can look up. And if you can look up, you can get up. And if you can get up, you can stay up. And if you can stay up, you can climb up. And if you can climb up, you can create a platform.
And if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself, dude. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your whatever you're a part of. It's bigger than you, man.
But I will tell you this, it isn't one thing. And it isn't 10 things, and it isn't 100 things. It isn't a quick path, and there are no shortcuts. Meditation won't get you there, and neither will a miracle drug or an organic supplement or some superfood. Getting better isn't a hack or a trick or a one change that you need to make. getting better is a campaign. It's a campaign. It's a daily, a weekly, it's an hourly fight. It's waking up early and going to bed late and grinding out every second in between.
Your brain spends most of its time trying to make sure you don't notice, because you'll go crazy if you notice everything. But when you decide what's most important to you, your brain goes after it. If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that to something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about exactly what it is you want, the more your brain knows how to get there.
The biggest challenge that you will have in life is you. There's an old African proverb that says this: there's no enemy within. The enemy outside can do us no harm.
To succeed, you must fail. In failure and in suffering, all the answers are in there. All the answers to all the test questions. The test is your life. I need to visit it. Visit suffering 1 hour a day. Visit your past failures 1 hour a day. The relationship with it is the answers are in there.
The world is a lesser place if you do not reveal from within yourself what you have to reveal. And the fact that the world is a lesser place actually turns out not to be trivial. Like, if you aren't everything you could be, more people will die, more people will suffer, more evil will be unconstrained, more tyranny will reign, more chaos will remain chaotic and dangerous, all of that.
One of the most damaging things that any human can do is set low standards and then achieve those standards.
The ultimate in compensation for human beings, to have more control over your own destiny.
There's so many people that are in that starting point. I don't know what to do. What should I do? But you're gonna have to figure it out, one foot in front of the other. To find a thing and keep working at it and get better at it.
Go deep into the dungeon of my soul and say, okay, what is making you a quitter? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? That's why I kept on quitting and going back to start, or not knowing how to get through hard times.
What happens if you walk through this lifetime, something unexpected comes? And then there it is. Something that we call choice. You have the choice. The suffering comes and you run away, or the suffering comes, the pain comes, and you face it. We are overcoming the suffering. We are not running away from the suffering. You are overcoming it. You go through it until you have become so strong. Your body becomes so strong. Your mind has become so strong that it doesn't matter afterwards anymore.
So you've got to learn to stand up to yourself inside yourself and short circuit, override that conversation that's always going on. 85% of what that conversation will tell you is negative. It's negative. It will tell you you're tired when you really are not tired. It will tell you you can't do it. It will fill you with fear. So you've got to watch that conversation. And when you find it going on, you've got to stand up to it and say, I'm going to do this anyhow. I'm afraid, but I'm afraid not to do it. And I'm not going to let you stop me.
I don't tell people that they're okay the way they are. No, I say, no, you could be way more than you are. And they're relieved about that, you see, because if you're in a dark and terrible place and someone says you're okay the way you are, then you don't know what to do about that. It's right. Like, no, I'm not. I'm having a terrible time and I'm hopeless. You're okay the way you are. Well, then what? That's it? That's where I am? And you could be way better. You could be incomparably better across multiple dimensions. And in pursuing that better, that's where you'll find the meaning in your life. And that will give you the antidote to the suffering.
As we begin to look at what we want, as we begin to look toward the future, what's going to be crucial for you is every time you find yourself saying that you can't do something, you've got to affirm to yourself, hey, no, I can make it. This can happen for me. You've got powers within you, talents within you that you haven't even reached for yet. Now, whatever goal you have, here's what we know. You're going to have some opposition. You're going to have some difficulties. You're going to have some challenges. Long journey, long dark night. But when you hold on to your dream, don't let anybody kill it in you. Just hold on to that dream. When it doesn't make sense to anybody, including you sometimes, just hold on. Once you give yourself an opportunity to try and to stretch, you'll find out you can do more than you can ever begin to imagine.
Why do you have goals? Is it to get the goals? You get the goal. How many have gotten the goal and after you achieved it, you went, is this all there is? That's worse than failing, isn't it? Because most of you, if you fail, you're driven, right? You'll dust yourself up, get up, and go for it again. You're going to get there. So I want you to understand something. The purpose of life is not to get your goals. The purpose of life is who you become to achieve your goals.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it. And see what happens.
And every day you fight not wanting to get up. And you do anyway. You chip another piece off that fucking rock. And every day you fucking eat the right foods. And every day you go to train. You train harder and harder and harder and harder. And you get up earlier. And all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock up. Before you know it, you have this beautiful fucking piece of artwork that you built.
Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? I'm gonna ask you again, can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? If the outcome of the result changes, will you still be the same individual?
Put your hands to work, put your faith to work, put your heart into it. The same way you dug your way into the hole, you can take that same path out of the hole.
Which is use what you have. And a lot more people have pain. A lot more people have anger. A lot more people have shame. And if you can use that as your gas in the beginning, you'll eventually get to a point where you can get out of that loop and then find something that you are really passionate about. But if you can't tie your shoes, you can't lift the weight, you can't send the DM, then you have to start with whatever you have.
You're worried about something that someone did to you years ago. You're being a pussy to yourself, man. You're not getting out there and squeezing that fucking soul out every day. I ain't got time about you, man. Because tomorrow, I got to go back to the grind. And tomorrow, I go back to the grind again, and again, and again, and again. I don't have time to put you into the hate bank. There's no hate. It's all filtered out, man, through the grind.
Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though. Joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do.
You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. This is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is, what are you becoming?
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important.